Okay, well, we should be going on the recording. Switch over to this screen. All right, welcome back, guys, to our 19th, or really our 20th episode of Arcadia. My, how the time flies. I only have really two kind of announcements, and they're both, pretty quick. The first is, as I said to the Ophion group yesterday, since we have different watchers for obviously different quote unquote shows, there is a new Discord channel link on my Twitch. It is open to pretty much anyone, whether you're a player, a fan, whatever. It's already got, some good participation, but who knows? It might crash, it might burn. Mostly just trying to throw stuff at a wall and sees what sticks. The other sort of announcement is apparently they're doing ops today at the Navy base near me, so I will preemptively apologize for any jet noise that slips in. But unless anyone had any announcements of their own, I believe the captain has a somewhat lengthy log, but we'll see.
Captain's log, stardate 4943.0. It's been several months since our battle with the Feph. Due to the heavy structural damage the Arcadia took, we've been grounded at Narendra Station. Repairing the Nova-class vessel, while possible, would take a significant amount of time in a proper shipyard, much longer, if ever, with Narendra Station's meager shipbuilding facilities. A dilemma not unnoticed by Admiral Haru. She has acquired a new vessel for us to explore the Shackleton Expanse, and most of the Arcadia's crew and senior staff will be aboard. The Admiral assures us the next ship is a much sturdier vessel. In the elapsed time, the Dominion attacked the Antwerp Conference, and Admiral Layton attempted a coup of Federation leadership. If the looming Dominion War weren't enough to stress relations on Narendra Station, the Feph terrorizing colonies near the Shackleton Expanse will. Like on Tastia, the Feph leave only handfuls of survivors. Haru hopes that our new vessel can help protect our sovereign borders. Medical study of the Feph cadaver revealed they are native to a subspace manifold parallel to the Octarans, crystalline in structure, like the Tholians. Their cause for hostility is yet unknown. It will be hard to show them mercy given what they've done, but we still know too little about their species and their culture to know for sure.
Okay. So, as the captain has said, it has indeed been a few months since you more or less dragged the damaged hull of the Arcadia back to Narendra Station. All of you were assigned temporary quarters on the station while repairs were underway. But beyond that, you didn't have any orders, and thus were free to have spent the time doing, pretty much any endeavors that you felt like doing. So, obviously, I know Maddock had a scene with the Admiral that is prudent. Crowley, I know you have a month off where you go fly to a certain planet for medical reasons. And I think that's all the ones I'm aware of. But of course, if anyone has any of their own, just feel free to pipe up and we'll get them done. But let's do the Maddox scene first. So Maddox, I believe you wanted to see the Admiral, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Let me drag you to her office. Where is her office? Did I get rid of her office? Huh. Alright, well, we'll go with this office then. That's odd. I wonder what the hell happened to her office. Alright, let's see. Tahan isn't there. Instead, we have the Admiral. And we've got Maddox. Alright, so yeah, Maddox, you of your own volition go to the Admiral's office, and of course she tells you to enter and have a seat, and then she just kind of looks at you questioningly as to what your purpose here is.
Admiral, I know I have received orders regarding this. However, after the recent attack on the Arcadia, I feel it may be necessary to develop a preemptive system of sorts. using the chronoton sensors that I had been working on, that all of the research was taken from me, I believe I could create some sort of something that would allow us to know whenever the Feph are about to uncloak or about to tear through subspace and attack.
So Haru lets out a, I guess you would call it an exasperated sigh. She says, "Why do I get the feeling, even if I tell you no, Lieutenant, you're going to do it anyway?"
I mean, technically, in the orders you've already given me, which were I have to work, I can only work at it at the Daystrom Institutes. You never said I'd actually physically be there. Technically, I could have been working on the holodeck at the Daystrom Institute.
She thinks long and hard about this. She rubs her chin in thought, kind of stares past you, trying to judge proper words, and she finally comes and says, "If, and this is an if I allow you to do this, are you going to be using the technology from the future, or are you going to be using present day technology?"
I'll be using present day technology.
Right then. Probably against my better judgment, I'm going to give you a probationary period to do as you wish. However, and I want to be crystal clear on this, if I find out that you so much as touch the Temporal Prime Directive, I will shut you down so hard you will be busted all the way back down to an ensign. Is that clear?
I'm surprised I'm going to even keep my commission.
Well, and she smiles in a much more light way. I mean, you do good work as chief engineer. As much as infractions would obviously be a detriment to your career, I don't think removing you entirely from your commission, should it come to that, would be prudent.
I'll keep you appraised at a regular time interval that you feel is comfortable about everything, and if you feel uncomfortable with anything, I fully understand that, you know, the temporal investigations division, they can be assholes sometimes.
That's not an understatement, unfortunately. Tell you what, I would like tri-weekly reports.
Can do.
Excellent. Well, is there anything else, Lieutenant? All right. So Admiral Haru at that point would dismiss you for you to go back and do whatever you wish. But yeah, you got the permission you wanted, so small blessing. Okay, so that's the Maddox scene out of the way. Also, I forgot to mention, Maddox did get a promotion in between sessions. He is now a full lieutenant instead of lieutenant junior grade. So who would like to do the next scene, or who would like to speak up?
Didn't we talk about before about Nalan possibly being like a mediator between like Klingon Federation during certain periods if the stress was high?
We did, yes. How do I want to handle that? So
It doesn't
Nalan.
necessarily need to be RP'd out if it's something that can just be said that I've done. I mean,
I'll say we'll handle it in a nebulous sort of a quick extended task way.
sure, sure.
So, Nalan, you obviously are called in by the Admiral to help soothe tensions between the Klingons and Starfleet on Narendra Station. Even with your rescue of some high-ranking Klingon individuals and blossoming friendships with said Klingons. Um, there's obviously still small skirmishes, small scuffles, lots of tension on the station. So, Nalan, I'd like you to roll me. I believe the appropriate task here would be a presence plus command, or a presence plus medicine, and we'll deal with the fallout from whatever you roll. The difficulty would be a 2.
Okay, diplomacy focus apply here?
It definitely would, yeah.
Okay. Let's see if I have... I would... I think I'll have... I'd actually like to use a point of determination on this if I can.
Sure, what is the value you want to apply?
Compassion through understanding? If that would work.
I don't know how well the Klingons might be receptive to it, but the Starfleet personnel would certainly take it,
Starfleet, certainly. Yeah, okay. Let's see, so that's already 2 successes. Only focus. That's 3 successes total.
Alright, so you guys get a momentum. So yeah, Nalan, you managed to diffuse a few situations. Obviously, you can't stop them all. You can't be everywhere at once. And I would say during your, I think we said, 3 to 4 months between sessions, you would become known on the station as a mediator, which obviously in different people's eyes means different things. Like the Klingons just might be annoyed with you.
Right.
But you feel like you've still made an impact on relations.
Okay. Cool. And then I have something else I want to do, but that involves Crowley, so we can actually do that after his whole thing.
Okay. Is your mic working, Crowley? I know you say in chat it is.
Yep, it's good.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we can do the Nalan Crowley thing if you guys want. This is,
Is it before or after he gets back, Milan?
It can be after if you want to. That's what I was figuring it would be anyway.
Alright. So I'd say for the first 3 weeks, Commander Crowley has been training with the Captain Tahan and Maddock and Luss and anyone else of the crew who wanted to partake in some of these cooperative training missions he had set up on the holodeck, and even on Starbase outside EVA excursions, all with the goal in mind to get a emotional fingerprint from each individual so he can actually make a telepathic link with them to send and receive mental images. And his goal to make sure that if any infiltration was done by a Cameloid, a Founder, or anything in between a shapeshifter, he would be able to suss out such an individual. The Captain and Maddox seem to have been working well. He's not too sure about Loss right now. I was wondering, did you want us to do rolls for that, or did you want to just say that we do rolls when I'm making the attempt?
I'd say let's do the rolls when you make the attempt.
Okay. 3 weeks into it, though, he immediately pulls the captain aside, asks for some leave and permission to take the Roddenberry, and Lieutenant Sharvik as well.
Granted.
On a trip to Vulcan, Crowley stays in his quarters aboard the Roddenberry, lets Shavik have all the fun as long as he gets to Vulcan in a timely manner. And on the trip back, Crowley will spend time talking with Shavik, getting to know him, learn more about his training for piloting, and just actually spending time with the lieutenant. Crowley does look beaten, though. When he gets back to the station, he hasn't been treated yet, but he has a few bruises along the face, a couple of cuts, and his left arm is in a sling. Nothing broken, it's just at the tail end of healing up.
Okay.
And that's how he returns to Narendra Station. About 3 to 4 weeks later.
Okay. Question: where would you like to meet the counselor then?
I'd probably be in my quarters just trying to relax. I'm thinking this is the first day back, so...
Okay. Well, I don't really have a map for that, so we'll just use theater of the mind.
Yeah.
Sure.
So yeah, it's your guys' scene, so I'm gonna let you run it.
Commander, well, you don't look the best.
You should see the other guy. I
See,
beat some logic into him. Or out of him. I'm not too sure how that works.
semantics. But
What can I do for you?
I was actually wondering if you had the time, if you'd actually like to play a game of three-dimensional chess with me.
Sure. I've never really gotten a hang of that. But
Oh,
I'm game.
we'll learn. Alright.
So yeah, you set up the 3D chessboard and you both begin playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's like, what would that even be role wise?
I was about to say, you have
think
roll
when
and just give Nilan an advantage for being, knowledgeable prior.
I think at one point when we had discussed it, you said it would be like presence and command, maybe.
How about you just both roll me a 1d100, and
Sure.
whoever has the lowest will win the 3D chess.
Sure, why not?
Well,
Can we-
so we'll say it's actually a very close match. You were evenly matched skill wise, and Nilan, you just so happened to catch a gambit by Crowley, and at the very last moment, you do put him in check.
Oh, that's
Yes.
a good maneuver. That was a good maneuver. I'm definitely liking this.
We'll certainly have to play again sometime.
I'll look at Milan and just speak to him in his mind. What brings you down here, really?
Well, due to some of the shifts in your emotional state the past while that you've been on the ship, I wanted to check up on you and see how you've been.
Well, being the good doctor, are we?
I have to try.
I'm doing better. I've sought out the help of the other Vulcans aboard the ship and even on the station here from time to time. I'm not planning on going through Kulinar. I feel that would be a slap in the face to my mother and her heritage.
I see.
But I am taking meditation training, and with the help of Alan and some of the Vulcans, I'm learning how to better control the Vulcan emotions.
Mm-hmm.
It's something I never really looked into, never really tried to understand, but I always thought my emotions being as open as they were was just part of being who I was. But Vulcans experience heightened emotions. And while I'm not going to the Kulinar, I still have to learn to manage that, and that's been addressed. And with the past couple of weeks, I should be good for a little bit while.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, Commander.
I'm looking forward to what's going to happen next.
Well, we'll just have to see. Well, unless you have anything else you want to talk to me about, then I'll take my leave.
How's the crew been since we've been marooned, as it were?
They've all seemed to be okay. Some of them, honestly, probably a little bit eager to leave, since they've been used to being out in space for so long, but I'm sure that they'll be fine once we get a new ship and we're back out there.
Yeah, as much as I like the station, I spent enough time just sitting around. I want to get back out there.
I'm about as eager as you are.
That's good. Well, I'm actually going to go talk with the Admiral. I think I'm going to ask her a couple of questions.
Of course.
Thank you, Counselor.
And thank you, Commander. And then I'll go ahead and leave.
As he leaves, I just do the Vulcan salute, like, live long and prosper.
And you as well. And I try to do it back.
Yeah, it's not that hard to do. All right.
Yeah.
So you're going to see the Admiral Crowley.
Yep.
All right. Well, back to this map. So yeah, Admiral has time for you. Tells you to come on in, take a seat, etc., and just kind of waits for you to, mention what you're in for.
I'm going to totally do the Riker maneuver on the seat and sit down.
Okay.
Just because I have to. And I'm just going to a little bit of a groan in pain. Admiral, has there been any more reports or sightings of the Feph from any Starfleet or any of our allies?
There has been several more attacks. It's something you will be, as a crew, investigating once your ship arrives.
Can you tell me... No, can you just tell me no casualties?
Unfortunately not. The total number of casualties is fluctuating depending on who you ask, but it's still not good. We've lost, not just us, but even the Klingons have lost a good number of colonies out here.
Can we be expecting our new ship soon? Because I kind of want to hit the Feph where it hurts, if you know what I mean.
Well, she looks at her little computer there on her desk and she says, I think that should be in by tomorrow.
Okay. And if I may make one request,
Name it.
Whatever the new ship is, wherever my new posting takes me, if I could get any information from our allies, from any sensory, video, just person accounts of these ships sent to the new ship, so I can peruse them.
Not to worry, that is included in your briefing.
Thank you. And I will give her a small bow, get up and tell her to have a nice day and leave.
Okay. So, did anyone have any other scenes out of curiosity, or is it time for new ship?
I don't know if it has to be a new scene or not, but after the Battle of Tastia, Los will have rescheduled a meeting with Nolan several times until finally he cancels it after about a week.
Okay.
Oh.
Whether or not that needs to be seen is not up to me.
I don't know if anyone else will do it, but seeing as the Roddenberries had actually some combat effectiveness, I've been sharing its plans with other Federation chief engineers and other Federation ships, hoping that maybe there's a couple of them that are building similar ships, or maybe even building it, so that way there's a little bit more combat effectiveness in the area. And would Maddox know that Crowley's looking for additional info on the Feph?
I don't know. Crowley, have you mentioned it to anyone?
Since it's my first day back, no, I haven't had a chance to.
Okay.
There is one last thing I would want to do before the new ship arrives, though. And it's to, if this time, grab the captain, or have him meet me at an observation window where the Nova-class Arcadia is.
Sure, you can do that. No problem.
All right. I'll go ahead and meet him there.
Crowley's holding a pad, and he's just tapping on it. And he notices you're approaching, like, "Hello, Captain."
Commander?
I hand him the pad, and it shows the Nova-class slightly different design, with a pointed saucer section instead of the cut piece, and it just looks a little beefier.
I like
have,
the suggestions.
Well, it's actually a friend of mine at the Utopia Planitia Fleet Yards. They've cleared a dock, and they're going to be taking her. They're going to test out a new variant design.
Well, she's a good ship. She shouldn't go to waste.
She got us home. Almost broke her back doing it. She got us home.
She's still got much more left in her. After a little bit of care, she'll be good as new.
Yeah, I shared some of the fight data we had on the Feph, and they think that it's going to be a tough fight. Ships like this, they want to try and beef them up now, especially with what's happening with the Dominion and the Klingons. We can't be just explorers anymore, and all we need now is the Borg to show up.
Commander, if we're not explorers anymore, we're not Starfleet. But you're right. We always better be safe than sorry. We can be both. The Dominion War is not my first war. It might not be my last. But we're going to get through this. Starfleet, the Federation, we're going to get through this.
You know, I read on Kirk and Picard and other captains like Archer, and I thought it would be great to be the front line, firing all of our phasers and photons at any threat. But after Wolf 359, I just want to explore now. That's all I want to do. After watching my ship burn, I don't want to really fight anymore. I understand that we have to, but it's not what I want to do. Not in the long run. So I hope whatever that goes on with the Feph, whatever goes on with the Dominion, that ends. I don't want to see casualty lists long as my arm every day.
None of us do, but Commander, one day you're going to be an excellent captain. Your concern for your shipmates is invaluable.
Thank you, sir. If I ever do become captain, I hope I make you proud.
You've already done that, sir. But one day you will be.
Well, hopefully...
Starfleet has noticed what the Arcadia has done so far. And that includes you, that includes Matic, Alon, everyone. Top to bottom.
It's a good crew.
I hear our next ship is also... It's going to be the Arcadia A.
Whose strings did you have to pull to get that done?
Well, I am a captain. I've been, if you haven't noticed, I've been ordering lots of stuff for the new ship. As much as I loved the Arcadia, she was small and she was not comfortable.
She was cute.
Yes, she was. I want to make sure our new ship is has everything we need.
Well, they're going to be tractoring her away soon.
Mm-hmm. Before we do that, though, I do need to, can I see that pad for a second?
Sure. Can I hand a pad to him?
I'm just going to patch into the repair crew and send a brief message for them to reclaim a piece of machinery from the Arcadia and move it to my section of the cargo area.
This is the aforementioned console, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a surprise.
Okay. So yeah, the piece of equipment is indeed pulled out and put in your little pile.
And Commander, you'll see it on your pad, but for the enjoyment of the stream, I'm not going to mention what it is right now.
I look at the pad.
It's not for you.
I look at the pen and just raise an eyebrow, but I also have a smile on my face.
I couldn't help myself.
Fair enough.
Well, Commander, how was your trip? You don't have to get too personal.
I re-educated a Vulcan into ways of logic. And I just smile.
Let me tell you, sometimes they're going to need that. You did them a service.
Yes, quite. Took a bit.
Looks like he gave you a little bit of logic, too.
You really should see the other guy.
I'm sure he was very green afterwards.
Let's just say that it's no longer to the death.
Oh, that's good. What'd you use?
Fists.
I give him an eyebrow back. I'm like, okay.
I'm very intimate.
More details than I need to know.
If it's alright with you, Captain, I'm gonna stay here and watch the Arcadia go.
Alright. Well, I've got a few more preparations left in my quarters. You have a good evening, Commander.
You too. Yeah, Crowley just stays there until they tow the Arcadia away.
Yeah, the tow ship doesn't arrive for another couple of hours, but yeah, sure enough, they do start to basically unclamp and pull back the umbilicals to the what was the Arcadia, and the tow ship takes her under tractor, then jumps to warp, and that is the last you see of the Arcadia. But yeah, if no one has any other scenes, I think we can finally get to the main event.
Goodbye, Nova Arcadia.
Hope you find your dad.
Oh dear. All right, so what'll happen then is the following day, Admiral Haru calls all of the senior staff of the Arcadia crew to the promenade, and the message is very simple. You might want to come see the arrival of your new home. So all of you are plus your favorite NPCs. All of you are kind of gathered around a window, and Haru points out towards a star and says, "She'll be coming in on that vector there. Watch carefully." And you watch and wait, and then an Antares class ship drops out of warp, and
Yes.
and all of you have varying reactions to this. The senior staff just look very quizzically at the admiral, and the admiral just kind of laughs and says, "Oh no, sorry, that star." And you look in a different direction, and because you were so focused on the Antares class, you have missed this lovely, lovely Sovereign class slowly approaching the station.
Oh, okay, Crowley, deep breaths. Come on, deep breaths with my boat. Come on, buddy.
It looks like it's still moving.
It looks like it's going fast.
Oh.
They have big shuttle bays. I guarantee you we could probably make 2 or 3 more Roddenberries.
I
How
go
would you like that,
to
Crowley?
I go to a console, because I have a pad in hand, and I'm downloading every bit of information I have on a Sovereign class vessel, and I'm quickly just going through it.
All right. Well, go ahead.
Captain,
Yes.
can my quarters be bigger this time? Because that last ship, that was pretty tight for me. I kept hitting my antennae.
Lieutenant,
Yes, sir.
it's not physically possible for your quarters to be smaller than they were before.
Sweet. Yay.
Oh, so obviously, varying reactions among the NPCs. Hailong and Sin are like, all right, well, I guess that means we have bigger workout rooms. Alon from engineering is just kind of Vulcan calmness, but I think Matic, having worked with Alon for the past almost year, knows that Alon is excited. And that kind of excitement is mirrored in the rest of the NPCs. But Haru, who's been there the entire time, sort of enjoying your reaction, says, "Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is your new ship, the USS Sovereign. You have," and she looks at a pad, "you have approximately an hour and a half before the official transfer of command takes place on the vessel. So make sure you're there." And then Admiral just kind of starts walking off. So Crowley, you were downloading information on the Sovereign, yes?
Yes, and my mouth is ever so slightly agape at the crew complement of 1200.
So, how do I want to do this? Would you be pulling specific from Sovereign or the USS Sovereign? Because it does make a difference what I tell you.
I would pull the base stats of the Sovereign class, but then I would tap into census to see what vessel this was, like what was the registry, and then I'd download information of the crew complement.
Okay, so the NX 73811, the USS Sovereign, is of course the prototype vessel for all future Sovereign classes. And as you kind of look at its service record, you see that when it launched in June of 2370, it had quite a few design flaws. Flaws like the deflector taking extensive amounts of power, the regenerative shield generators having instabilities while running. Basically, it was a technical testbed that, to put it bluntly, had quirks to it. Now, obviously, it being 2372, Utopia Planitia has had time to overhaul and attempt to correct these flaws, but it's hard to say for certain until you actually put her through her paces. It's also worth noting that the Sovereign has come into dock with only 500 personnel. The usual crew complement is around 800, so there's definitely empty space on the ship. It's also worth noting that the Sovereign differs from the Enterprise E, but the Enterprise E doesn't launch for, I believe it's a few months. But yeah, other than that, you get general deck plans, general statistics like how many phaser arrays it has, things of that nature. It's all nice, new, sparkly information.
I lean over to Matic and go like, is it 24 decks or 29 decks? It seems to be skipping over. No, the refit has 29. Ours has 24. Okay, let me just delete that. Sorry, little meta humor at the inconsistencies of the deck plans of the Sovereign.
Oh yeah, they're all over the place.
Oh yeah. Well, who says they're numbered sequentially? It's abstract. It's jazz.
I know the Admiral said it's an hour and a half, but I really want to beam over now.
You certainly can. You just have to be on the bridge in an hour and a half.
I am going right to my temporary quarters, grabbing my belongings, and beaming over.
All right. Well, as Shravik has alluded to, there are quite luxurious by comparison to the original Arcadia. They are much bigger. And funnily enough, every single member of the senior staff has their own office on Deck 2.
This is exciting.
Whoa.
Janice.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, let's let this question go through first.
Okay.
On the bridge plan,
Yes.
if you're looking at the view screen, the holographic view screen, mind you, on the left is the captain's ready room, and then on the right is the commander's.
My floor plans differ, but we'll handle that when everybody's aboard.
Okay.
Janice, I'd like to bring aboard a few items that I have painstakingly had delivered without transporter technology. Would you be able to meet me in Cargo Bay 2 with the captain's yacht?
Of course, sir.
Excellent. And then when he finds me in the back in the cargo bay after what I'm sure is a very pleasant ride in the yet to be named captain's yacht,
I'm straight up like 15 minutes late.
okay. That's fine. I was expecting it. I know better. And I'm there with several cube-shaped crates of you don't know what's inside them. But I put them on like their little anti-grav sled, and I start putting them into the captain's yacht. And I'm very delicate with them. And then,
Is this something I should be extra careful flying back, sir?
it's not dangerous. I just don't want to break any glass.
Okay, I will be extra gentle in my flying, which means slightly less dangerous than I normally am.
It's okay. They're packed pretty well. These are my diplomatic supplies.
Very well, sir.
That's code for booze.
Yeah,
Lots of
I
fancy booze.
I gathered. Okay,
And-
so
And fresh Rectigino.
Okay, so that's what so Crowley has beamed over already. That's what Captain and Trevik are doing. I think that leaves Nalan and Matic.
Matic is personally transporting his very fragile glass. He's also hiding it in various parts of engineering.
Okay.
Panels that aren't really essential. If you open them up and put your hand in the right way, you could probably grab a pretty good bottle of whiskey.
Nice.
He's making sure no one else is around whenever he's doing this.
I'm glad you guys don't drive.
I have lieutenants to do that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So Nalan, what are you up to? If anything.
Yeah. I'm just kind of setting up stuff in my office, and if I could have done this in my off time in the registration, cool, and this is a bit of a long throwback.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever we still had Ensign Rochot with us, he taught me how to play the ukulele from back when our D&D style thing was.
I remember.
I would have wanted to have the ukulele put in almost like a shadow box, if you know what I'm talking about,
Mm-hmm.
and just placed somewhere in my office, and that's about the only fancy bit of decoration I have.
Okay. So Friar is here now. Friar, can you hear us? And can we hear you?
Yes, I can hear you fine. And sorry about that.
Nah,
Time zone change and time zones and time change.
yeah, I figured that's probably what it was, and I knew that
counted
would
for
happen to at
one
least
and not
someone
the
this
other.
week.
Yeah.
But it's good you're here. So I can actually now introduce your character. So, Captain, I would say as you start to move stuff to your ready room, you run into a lieutenant commander who's currently overseeing the bridge. And Friar, if you would care to describe your character.
So you would see a very tall, lanky, like thin, ropey arms and legs, Kelpian.
Oh.
Very tall, probably taller than most anyone else on the ship by about a head, and with sort of jerky movement and not really a swagger, but like a unusual movement due to kind of having hooves.
I've got like a duffel bag over one shoulder. Lieutenant Commander.
Ah, Captain.
Nice to see you aboard the Arcadia A. How was the trip from, was it Utopia Planitia? Which shipyard are we coming from?
It would be Utopia Planitia.
It was fun.
Excellent.
It is a pleasure to serve with you, sir.
Likewise, and I'll extend the handshake.
And this very long fingers ending in not claws, but just these thick nails sort of wrap around your hand.
Well, it'll be excellent to have a tactical officer of your expertise and experience aboard. If you will need me, I will be in my ready room setting up.
Yes, sir. I think I will work on a duty roster for the security team.
I think that'd be an excellent idea. If you need to coordinate with my prior tactical officer, Lieutenant Sen, feel free to do so. And I'll go into the ready room, and inside that duffel bag was a gold-plated model of the first Arcadia that I will display on the wall behind the desk.
Okay. Very nice. All right.
Little tear.
So yeah, that for those watching on the stream who haven't guessed already, we have a lovely new person joining us. Fryer is playing Lieutenant Commander Serta. Okay. And they will be fulfilling the tactical position. But not to worry, Sin will just move over to backup tactical /comms. Not to take away from your giddy time to, explore the ship, it is coming up on the time where everyone needs to be on the bridge for change of command. So I will put you guys on this map. And I'd like to thank Jester David for doing the lovely Photoshop job for the bridge layout here. It's definitely different than, say, the quote-unquote canon one, but I like it. It's nice and clean. And we don't even have to switch maps when we go to the conference room.
Nice.
Nice.
That's probably the most important part.
Of course, everyone takes up their stations, of course standing, though, as the Admiral walks on board and motions for Tahan to take a spot opposite her near the view screen. And she opens up a ship-wide communication channel, holds up a pad, and begins to read. Attention all hands, attention to orders. From Starfleet Headquarters, Office of the Admiralty, to Captain Athos Tahan. As of this date, you are requested and required to command of USS Sovereign. Signed, Admiral Neela Haru, stardate 49493.0. Computer, please transfer command codes to Captain Tahan, authorization Haru Alpha Charlie 739er. And the computer beeps and waits for the captain to put in his codes.
Captain Tahan, code Beta 497 Charlie Delta.
And the computer beeps appropriately. And Admiral Haru begins clapping, and everyone else is free to join in if they wish. And then she hands you the pad and says, "I think you might want to read this one aloud, Captain." And I'm gonna copy paste, or at least attempt to. What are you in? You're Patrick in Roll20. All right.
I've been found out.
That's what the Admiral has hinted that you might want to read off.
Okay. Special dispensation from the Chief of Starfleet Operations to change the name from Sovereign to Arcadia and the registry from NX 73811 to NCC 72487-A.
There's another round of perhaps maybe a little bit more vigorous clapping from at least Hylong, and Sin. It's everybody's happy. Of course, you can't really hear the rest of the crew, but I'm sure that they would be clapping and cheering as well. And yeah, Haru just again shakes your hand and says, "Well, Captain, I think the only other thing of note you'll find on that pad, but you're free to head back out into the stars at your convenience." And then Haru takes one good look around, smiles, and unless anyone stops her, she will leave the bridge back to Narendra Station.
Matic will pop open a bottle of champagne.
Okay.
And Janice, while everybody else gets half lit, will go into a worker bee and go outside and change the damn name.
Okay. Actually, I think there's drones that do that, because if Discovery has drones that can do it, I'm pretty sure you guys in the 24th century have drones that can do it.
Oh,
But I like the worker bees.
Yeah, if you really want to, I ain't gonna stop you.
Yes, I want to do it. It's my participation.
All right. So yeah, Janice, you go out and you change the name and the register.
Yeah.
I do want to stop Matic before he opens the champagne. It's like, Matic, I'd like to do one thing before you do that. If you want to do the honors, you can be the first one to activate our warp core in the crew. I know it came here from Utopia Planitia, but as a bit of ceremony, I'll ask you that you indulge me in allowing you to do this.
Matic starts tearing up.
Aw.
Shit.
He'll and then he'll kind of look at the champagne and be like, "Do it from here, or do we want to go down to engineering and do it? That way we can all see the pretty colors."
Let's go down to engineering.
Okay.
I can.
We go to engineering.
just
You might
before we head
recognize-
down,
Oh, go ahead.
I'm going to email, message all the head of departments not to run any experiments without prior permission first, just because the ship has quirks.
Okay.
So, Matic, I have another surprise for you. You see that console on the map that you're standing next to?
Yes.
You'll recognize it as the console you supercharged the first Arcadia's phasers. It is the same one.
Okay.
The exact same one.
All right. So Matic will kind of look back at the captain, look at the bottle of champagne. He'll set it on top of the console. He'll kneel, open up a side panel, he puts like almost all of his arm in. You see him grab something, he pulls out a really good bottle of whiskey and says, "I thought I had lost this. Thank you."
Nice. Nice.
I'm glad I'm piloting.
gosh. Oh.
And then I'm going to look at both bottles and be like, "Okay, which one?"
You're the engineer.
Okay, I'll hold the bottle of whiskey next to me, and I'll pass the champagne off to Alon.
Okay. Alon does the honors. He does it very fancifully. He kind of takes a spanner and just kind of pops it off like you do with a knife. And he begins pouring everyone a nice fizzy glass.
Wonderful.
As soon as he pops it, that's whenever I hit the activate. That's whenever the activation sequence. Me and him kind of timed it to where as the activation was going down its steps, as he popped it, that's whenever all the pretty colors come on.
All right, so the tube that runs through the middle of the warp core begins to swirl with blue light and begins to give that low hum or thumb. And as he pops the cork, it enters into a nominal phase, and it is. I probably should have had an ambient noise for this, but it is the stereotypical kind of noise that you would expect from a warp core of this nature.
these two tall brown pillars or columns next to the warp core.
Mhm.
The Arcadia didn't have those, did they?
Nope.
Have I seen those before?
I don't think you have.
Captain, those are the that's the new standardized coolant tanks. For warp cores this big, they tend to get pretty hot. Commander, I saw you looking at designs. You've probably figured out why they put these in.
Yeah. Let's make sure no phaser fire happens down here.
I'll do my best, sir.
Right. I forgot to do this earlier, but you all should now have access to the lovely Arcadia A sheet, as well as the official Captain's Yacht sheet.
Oh, this is my face. I'm loving this already.
Technical test bed. Roddenberry. And we still got so many small crafts too. Yes! Double shuttle bay. Woo!
And for those at home watching on the stream, I'll put it up on the screen so you all can take a look as well. Let me see if I can drag the window a little bit.
Quantum torpedoes.
Quantum torpedoes. Ablative hull armor. Improved warp drive. Advanced sensor suite. And improved power system. Yes.
This is great. I love it.
We'll have to name the yacht between sessions.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, micro torpedoes.
Ooh, the Roddenberry does have micro torpedoes now.
Yeah, I figured I'd give it to you. I'll probably nerf the resistance later, but, you know.
Wait,
Who knows?
no.
Anyways, so yeah, all of this happens. Serta, I would say you having come here from Utopia Planitia, you would more or less know the layout of the ship. So my question is, would you offer a sort of tour of the ship, or would you just kind of let the rest of the senior staff do their own thing?
Probably let them alone. Definitely sort of making a note about where alcohol is stored to bring that up later
Okay.
as against regulations.
Regulations.
Oh dear.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so on that note, I'll say that you all pretty much have as much time as you really want to spend exploring your new ship. There are a few things I did want to give you like deck numbers for in case it becomes relevant. Interestingly, we start with the multi-deck Arboretum that spans between deck 10 and deck 11, and I actually have a map for this. So it's a fairly expansive Arboretum. It's got paths, it's got benches, it even has a nice little stream and a lake. And you would probably find Andromeda already in there. You see that she is tending to a group of plants, almost as if, it's second nature to her. And she would kind of wave and nod if anyone were to approach her. So that's the Arboretum. The next map, which I haven't put in yet, but I will by next session, is you have a multiple deck shuttle bay that goes from decks 14 to 17. And as you can see on the Arcadia A sheet, you have 3, I believe they are Type 9 shuttlecraft. And you also see that the Roddenberry has been brought over as well. You guys have already been to engineering. But on one deck below main engineering, there is way in the back of the ship, literally as far back as you can go in the ship, there is an aft observation lounge. And you see that there is already a Ferengi bartender that is, what is his name? His name is Mo, literally M-O. And if any of you kind of poke your head in, he just kind of waves, and I would say you would get the sense either by talking to him or just hanging around for a little bit that this observation lounge is the equivalent of Quark's. It is definitely more quote unquote rowdy than your normal observation lounge. So it might be, an interesting place to visit on your time off. Obviously, there are. Oh, go ahead.
Does he have Dabo then?
He does have a Dabo table, yes. Just a single one. And we'll say that the Dabo table comes complete with a Andorian Dabo girl, because why not?
What's up?
Oh my.
Hey, back off, pink skins.
Oh dear. So yeah, that is quote unquote Moe's. There are more normal observation lounges on deck 3 and deck 10. But I figured, I'd kind of give you guys a little bit of an Easter egg since it's on the MSDs. That if you ever feel like going to Moe's, it's a happening place to be.
I just got the Simpsons reference. I do not keep my diplomatic supplies at Moe's.
I figured as much.
Immediately station a security personnel there at all times. At least one guy.
At least one guy. Okay. We'll have to figure out a good name that's equivalent to Morn. We'll have to figure out who the NPC Morn is.
Gorn.
Is that your name or your species?
Yes.
Oh.
You know what? Let's make a roll out of it. Friar, if you would be so kind, I'd like you to roll me a 1d50.
Oh, I'm so stupid.
All right, a 30. Let me consult my updated chart.
Ooh.
Funnily enough, on my updated chart, NPCs are right after human. So roll me a 1d10, please, to see which NPC race. A 3, Cardassian, Orion. Well,
No. There's not going to be an Orion on this ship.
no, I figured that would not go over well. You know what? I'll just say for shits and giggles, it is an actual Gorn. Why not?
Yes!
Why not?
I'd like him to be the groundskeeper. Like, he's very good at his job. Everyone knows he's good, but no one ever, we always see him at Moe's, though.
Sure. And if anyone wants to come up with a name, you know what? I'll just go ahead and preemptively put a supporting character sheet in there that you all can mess with at your convenience. Gorn security officer.
This campaign's going off the rails, and I love it.
I mean, Gorn are great. I love Gorn.
Yeah, Gorn the Gorn.
Sort of like somewhere opens the door, Sam the Eagle style, and says, "You're all very silly."
Oh. Okay. So there's actually only a few other places I'd point out before we quote unquote get back to the adventure.
Sure.
So you actually now have 4 holodecks on deck 8, as opposed to the Arcadia's 1. So you've got quite a bit of playroom.
I got new quarters.
Yeah, you did get new quarters. In fact, all of you get rather spacious because you're senior staff. You do get your own spacious kind of. I guess you would say it is the equivalent of captain's quarters on the old Arcadia. So it's very expansive. You could probably hold a good-sized dinner party in your quarters. Also, as I mentioned before, all of the senior staff, you have your own office on deck 2. Whether or not you use it is, of course, your own prerogative. If it matters, the science labs are spread across decks 9 and 10. And I think that's everything. Yes, that is everything I have to say about the new ship.
Is there a battle bridge?
There is indeed a battle bridge. If I remember correctly, it is on deck 10.
Okay.
During the tour, I am quickly making notes of things and getting stuff compiled up for some little changes I'm noticing.
Okay. Matic, would you have gone on the tour or would you have stayed in engineering?
I would have gone on the tour.
Okay. You'll get a little communique from Alon, and he says, Alon to Lieutenant Matic.
I kind of look at Crowley. Matic here.
I thought you might want to go over the, I believe the human term is quirks of our new ship. I have compiled a list.
Commander, you want to be present for this?
Sure.
Okay.
Alright, we'll be there in a second.
All right. So we cut back to main engineering. And as soon as you arrive, Alon does indeed proffer a pad and holds it out to Matic. And Matic, when you begin to read, I wouldn't say it's disheartening, but it is a rather extensive list of things Alon has noticed in addition to the official reports. So the deflector still takes quite... how do I want to say this? It's not as bad as a power draw as it used to be, but it's still beefy. Kind of like how the Defiant is dealing with an oversized engine and it, produces too much power. It's kind of the opposite here, where it's the deflector that pulls too much power from the core. It's fixable, but it's something you'd have to work on for a little while. The other thing you note is that the conduits on deck 7 run a little bit hotter than they should. Nowhere near the red zone, but still, it basically makes the environmental controls for deck 7 a little bit more work for them to offset the additional heat. And then you see some probably some more silly things, like if someone activates their sonic shower, a console goes out on the bridge, something of that nature. Good news though, the replicators work.
Commander, I have good news and bad news.
Is it the FTL nanocompressors? Or is it the 25 bilateral kiloketrals with the mistakes that happened with the ship? I'm noticing with a little chart here.
It's a little simpler than that.
That's good.
Replicators work,
Whew.
supposedly.
You know what? You started off a day good with saying the replicators work.
The deflector dish pulls too much power, the engine stays too hot, and if someone decides to take a shower, one of the consoles on the bridge goes out. And that's just the top of the list.
How about we prioritize the console going on a bridge first? If we're navigating and someone decides to have a sonic shower, and we lose nav. Yes.
Note to GM.
Mm-hmm.
Janice is in the sonic shower.
Yeah, so on the bridge, whoever is currently sitting at... let me roll my dice here. Whoever is sitting at ops, their console just goes out. I have a
And
random
I
chart
like
for
long
this.
showers.
Oh, God.
Cold, long showers.
Oh, dear. Yeah, I rolled a few quirks for this ship. I thought it would give her a little bit, some character to start off with. But yeah,
Well,
Maddox gonna look at Crowley. Commander, permission to get to work, start fixing this stuff?
granted.
Alright.
But prioritize the ship's bridge consoles first.
Right. I was gonna go consoles, overheating on the engine, and then the power draw.
What's the safest you think we can push the engines for warp travel?
Add a character. The answer is you could go 9, just don't jump to like 9.9.
What Q said just now.
You heard that too? Okay.
Oh dear. All right. So there is one scene I wanted to accomplish between Serta or Serata. I'll butcher the name so badly, and I apologize. I did want to have you both meet in Tahan's ready room, if that's okay. So let me move some tokens around here. Pull you guys onto that map. Alright.
Just while we're waiting, I just want to say the episode Rascals has the best technobabble ever in Star Trek.
You're not wrong. That was some fancy thinking on Riker's part. But anyway, now that we're on this map, so Captain, you have finally gotten to the point in the pad that Haru gave you that has a difference in your mission. So you still have the Arcadia's original mission, which is, to boldly go where no one has gone before, seek out new life and new civilizations, etc., 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 in the Shackleton Expanse. However, there is now a fourth directive, and that directive is to seek a resolution with the Feph threat as soon as possible. And I thought that you might want to go over that with your new head of security.
Lieutenant Commander Serta, please, I'm glad you could come.
Of course.
As you know, we've been given a new directive by Admiral Haru to deal with the Feph threat. Have you been able to review all of our reports, prior reports with our dealings with the Feph?
Yes, I'm up to date on all technical information.
All right. Well, given your familiarity with this ship that I do not have yet, what are your recommendations for any future encounters?
I imagine I would basically lay out a battle plan, like some pre-planned scenario maneuvers.
Mm-hmm.
Just walk through like 2 or 3 simulated scenarios and show, if we go this evasion maneuver and this attack pattern. Yeah.
Those are all excellent ideas. We'll have to make sure we organize several tactical simulations. I'm also curious if we can hope to find a Starfleet answer to this threat as well. Maybe there's some way we can learn to reason with some Feph partisan group or civilian government. We don't even know if they have one.
And sort of cocks his head to the side and makes sort of a clicking noise with his mouth and says, "I do not understand a Starfleet solution. Starfleet is a peacekeeping armada."
Yes, with the emphasis on the peacekeeping. Your tactical information will help us defend ourselves, but going on the offensive is not always the wisest course of action. If the Feph can become neutral or allies to the Federation, we'd be much better off than simply razing their ships and colonies to the ground. That said, we don't know what they're doing and why they're abducting our people. And finding out the answer to that question, for me, is paramount.
It would certainly help us predict their movements.
Which, right now, we have no way to do. Actually, is there any pattern on the attacks that they've been making against our colonies?
There is indeed, and in fact, I was actually about to have Hylong poke her head in, or at least tell you to come to the bridge.
I'll summon her to this conference as well, and I think Commander Crowley should be here too. Actually, let's have a whole senior staff meeting.
Okay, let's do a whole senior staff meeting. Put you on this map. All right.
That means I gotta hurry up and dry and get out of the shower.
Yep. Which, you know, we all have bathtubs now, so we can get shaved by our partners. I think you're forgetting that aspect of the sovereign class.
You mean find people passed out drunk in their bathtub?
Yeah. That was one of the first things the shipbuilders put in.
While you're moving us over, note to GM, my quarters are 0 Celsius all the time.
Okay. I mean,
Nice.
that's your prerogative. You can certainly keep your quarters that cold if you wish.
Andorians are cold planet people.
All right. All right,
And
so...
And it keeps them damn pink skins out of my spaces, too.
All right, so all of you gather in the conference room, and once everyone's ready, Hailong kind of taps the little sort of built-in console that's in the table, and on the view screen over here on the wall behind Manik and Janice, you see that a class or a F-type star appears on the screen, and Hailong explains, well, sirs, in reviewing all available data about the Feph attacks, I believe I found a tentative connection between all of them. All of them appear to emerge from F-type stars, and there is a period of instability and turbulence before the Feph arrive. As it just so happens, there is a F-type star approximately 25 light-years distance in the Ugrone system, and it has begun to display the same type of activity that would seem to precede an attack by the Feph. However, sirs, I would like to note that even though the Ugrone system is on the border between Federation space, Klingon space, and the Expanse proper, it's uninhabited. There's quite literally nothing really out there of strategic value.
Perhaps there's a Feph settlement there.
That or it's a staging ground.
It's possible, though, that the Feph can't control where they travel to, or that they can only travel to F-type stars.
Oh,
It seems to be a unifying condition.
What we could do, sir, is the Sovereign class has a interesting probe. It is a Class 9 long-range multi-mission warp probe. It's able to achieve warp 9. We could launch that to one of the stars. Have it scout out.
We absolutely should do that, especially if we're having issues with our deflector dish and other systems on board. I'd rather have that information before we get there.
Especially if our deflector is having an issue. If it goes down while we're traveling at warp. Pretty ship she is.
We won't be traveling at warp for very long.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's do what we can. Hailong, do you know how? Do you have an estimated time of arrival for the Feph in that system?
That's something that's a little bit harder to nail down, Captain. It varies between hours to days, sometimes even weeks of such activity before the Feph seem to arrive.
All right. Well, if we don't learn anything from this mission, my next course of action, I suppose, would be to contact the Opterans and see what they know.
I'm pretty sure Jeffrey would have no problem telling us that information.
All right. Well, if anyone has anything else, I'd love to hear it. But otherwise, I think we all know what we need to do.
Very well. I will get the crew prepped and ready for departure.
Dismissed.
All right.
Matic
ahead.
will kind of hang around and want to talk to Crowley and Tahan kind of by ourselves.
Okay. Would anyone else linger?
I would say Serta probably lingers long enough to drop off a pad with a drill schedule.
Okay.
Okay.
Janice
I'll
goes to his console and starts configuring it to be more efficient for his use.
Okay.
I'll hand off the pad to Crowley, who is in charge of those kinds of matters.
Okay.
I start to skim over it.
I suggest we include Lieutenant Sin on these drills. She does know our existing crew better than Serta does.
I agree. We can have them work together.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be good
She
show
is the
to.
second tactical officer.
It'll be good to have our crew work together with other members of the new ship as well. Integrate them in fairly easily. With the quirks, though, if we are going to go into combat, I want to run a possible combat drill as well as soon as possible. I start looking over the pad. Would it have anything like that on there already?
Oh yeah, it's schedule of like combat drills and even a boarding drill. Like overly thorough, let's say.
I don't think this will be a priority yet, since we already have so much on Maddox's plate. But when we used the QAC on the Arcadia, it had a significant power draw on our systems, right?
Correct.
I was wondering if we can instead implement the QAC through this ship's battle bridge rather than the holodeck.
Could try that, but it relied on the holodeck to simulate the cockpit and the surroundings so I could navigate around. Being on a other bridge, I'm limited to tactile controls and the view screen, not my peripherals.
Well, the view screen does have is holographic in nature, but I understand that it would be harder for you that way. Just a thought I had to consider.
Yes, I am worried about the power draw of the ship, especially since the engines are running hotter. If we do need to break out the Roddenberry, that means we're still dealing with a pretty big threat then that even this vessel can't handle. I hope it doesn't have to come to that, but I will have Chief Gaddett make sure that the Roddenberry is on standby during any away missions.
Yeah. Well, if we start going up against Feph ships that are more on par with the with our new ship, I don't know if the Roddenberry would make too much a difference in those scenarios.
You always swat at a fly when it gets near your face. So.
I mean, it could be a distraction. We'll have to take each encounter as they come at us.
Yep. Other than that, the ship's very fine. Carried you cute, but this ship is something else.
Yeah. You'll definitely get moved up a little bit on that promotion list working on a ship like this.
Well, this ship's in good company, sir. This ship is the sister ship to an Enterprise. That's big.
Yeah, but we're out here first, going where no one else has gone.
Well, if it's all same with you, sir, I'm going to go get back to it. I'm going to work on the new rotations of different shifts.
Be my guest. I myself have a more selfish task to enjoy.
Very well, sir.
And I'll go out to the bridge and sit down in this lovely new chair.
It's very nice. It's made of leather, as all Starfleet ships seem to have. It's got your little tactical console that you can look up information on both the left and the right. It also reclines, though I don't think any officer we ever see it happen on the ship. But hey,
I noticed next to the recline button, and I just press it briefly, and it's the seat warmer.
Yeah, you've got a seat warmer.
Oh yeah, I could get used to this. And then I start looking up and reviewing the timetable for when we'd be ready to head out.
Okay. Well, the good news is the timetable is quite literally whenever you feel like you can go.
Well, I do want to give Matic time for his repairs, but I don't have to wait for those to send out the class 9 or class 10 probe, right? Class 9?
Class 9.
Class number probe. Okay.
So yeah, Hailong will oversee the launch of such a probe. As far as Maddox repairs are concerned, I'd say maybe fixing the bug with the sonic showers in the bridge consoles takes maybe all of 30 minutes. But after that, yeah, you wouldn't have to work. Oh, go ahead.
While doing my repairs, I do want to run a computer check because the last ship that we had that came from Utopia Planitia, it had all those prank protocols in them. I want to go ahead and try to get rid of those.
Okay. Let's do a momentum roll because we haven't done one yet. Insight plus engineering, difficulty 0, so free momentum.
Am I being assisted by the ship?
I'm gonna say no.
Is this a technical problem with the ship?
I wouldn't call it a problem. No.
All right.
Hey, 3 momentum.
Hey.
So, good news. Well, kind of good news and then maybe neutral news. So, good news, you don't really find any Easter eggs, like you don't really see a reason why Raktaginos should start spewing out of replicators. However, you do come across a strange kind of remnant of a program. The best way I could qualify it is it's like someone at Utopia Planitia was experimenting with an AI, but they never activated it or really went too far with it. You're looking at this thing and trying to gauge how far along it is. It would be the equivalent of... So you know how in Voyager, even though Voyager might not be the best example of this, you know how they ran the same program pretty much continuously, 24/7, and the program eventually became self-aware?
Yeah.
You think that might be the case here, that if you let this AI program run long enough, it could become self-aware.
I don't even know who I need to talk to about this. I'm the chief engineer.
You're the man in charge.
Who would I bring in as advice? I have no idea.
Just to help with this, I did say that if anyone wanted to run experiments, they would have to get permission first due to quirks with the ship. So if you want to run an experiment, you did get told that order.
I mean, Matic likes his experiments. I'll send the I'll kind of put it all. I'll move the file into like a personal folder, and then I will send that file to I guess Crowley, Serta, and Hailong.
Okay.
And see what they, and just kind of ask like, do y'all see any reason that this could be detrimental to the ship? If maybe we could have AI assistants that might be able to assist us like Commander Data does the Enterprise.
If that's the message you send out, Crowley's just gonna be reading it as he's on the way to his office, and he just stops and is like, "What is this? What?" Commander Crowley to Chief Matic.
Matic here.
I just got your message. What is it all capable of? What systems does it tie into?
I honestly have no idea. It's a leftover program from Utopia Planitia. I could try to pull up who was the most common user and send a message to him, but it could be a week or so before we find out, you know. Right now it's inert, it's not working. I mean, we could wait that week or so for the message to get there and back, so
Let's find out what systems this could tie into. Let's separate from any of the systems, isolate it, lock it down. We don't need this activating, especially if it can become involved. There is the potential that we could lose the ship if something were to take over. That's happened with the Enterprise before, on multiple occasions, and multiple ships. Until then, leave it locked up, not allowed to access it unless with prior authorization from me or the captain.
sir.
GM.
Mm-hmm.
We hadn't had the hull markings changed until after the command codes were authorized.
Correct.
Does this also mean the ship's plaque is still the NX Sovereign?
Well, if you get up and investigate it, you'll see that someone, who shall remain unnamed for mysterious purposes, has already changed the plaque to the new shiny Arcadia A.
Okay. Didn't want to leave Narendra Station without that having been done. And then I'll also read the I got the message too about the AI.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Captain to Commander Crowley.
Commander here.
Did you see what I saw?
Yes, I have instructed Medic to separate it and lock it down from any systems, and to leave it locked until one of us authorizes him to investigate further. We're going to message about this and find out what exactly it is before we attempt to even think about turning it on.
Okay, good. That's not something I need to deal with right now.
I have flashbacks of the reports of Daystrom back on the original Enterprise with Kirk.
I am going to say that I am in engineering. I'm not on the bridge.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. I'll throw in a handout later that shows you what each of these positions means, but you all are where you should be, or you were anyway. But yeah, anything else before we kind of get you guys underway?
People outside the Cybernetics lab could hear Carruthers just squealing with joy. That's all I gotta say for him.
Okay.
I want to try to fix as much of the ship as possible right now.
Okay. Well, the deflector is something you're just going to have to kind of eyeball and tweak as you go. But for the moment, it doesn't really provide a mechanical detriment. So you should be fine to boldly go where you wish.
All right. Is there a way to adjust the shields to be able to be more counteractive or offer a little bit extra protection against the Feph's particular weapons?
I would say it's a good idea, but it would still have to be something you do in combat to remodulate the shields. Simply because unless you literally turned them on now and left them on, it wouldn't carry over if combat were to break out with the Feph.
Okay.
But yeah. Last call for any, because we do have to get to some meat of the episode today. Unless anyone has anything else.
Nope. I'm good.
Okay. So, Captain, you of course give the order for Janice to take the Arcadia out on her quote-unquote maiden voyage. And as you all kind of watch on the view screen, Narendra Station drops into the background and disappears, and then there's a flash, and you are at warp speed, headed towards the lovely system known as your Grown. And I would like to say that, again, there is a small opportunity here for you guys to RP. But I'll let you guys be the judge of, how many scenes you maybe want to squeeze in here. It would be 3 days before you arrive at the Grown system.
I'd actually like to meet Lieutenant Commander Serta.
In your office, on the bridge, where are we going?
In my office.
In your office. I'm gonna see if I can't find some more offices, because as much as we use this map.
Oh no, I was in Commander Crowley's office.
Yeah.
But I slink away.
All right, there we go. All right, so you two are in your office.
Hello, Lieutenant Commander.
Hello, Commander.
I've been going over reports here and the training you have set up. I'm going to be assigning Sin to help you out with these. Coordinate with her with the other personnel from the old Arcadia. This will help integrate them with the new ship. I'd also be participating in some of these trains as well with you, just to see your combat effectiveness.
Yeah, of course, sir.
I've never met a Calpian before. Tell me about yourself a little bit, if you feel comfortable.
We come from a world in which there are no food chains. Our planetary life is mostly binary. You're either predator or prey. My species developed as prey for larger animals, and so we have developed a sense of danger,
Interesting.
as well as our ability to run at high speeds.
Would your danger sense, as it were, how has it been reliable during combat? Is it accurate, or is it more just a vague feeling?
I find it quite useful. And I sort of turn and show there's a ridge line on the base of my skull. And I sort of squeeze slightly, and my threat ganglia appear, which are these sort of 4 tendrils connected in a sort of mass. And he goes, it is a very physical response.
If we are on missions that are dealing with the Feph, or we have any sighting or belief to believe the Feph could be showing up at any moment, if that threat ganglia triggers, raise shields.
Will do, Commander.
That'll be our first response to them, is protecting this ship. And other than that, how's your hand-to-hand combat?
As I am well versed.
That's good. You should also include our science officer Hailong into some training as well. Don't challenge her to a straight duel right away until you know what she's capable of.
Ah, I see.
And the weapon systems, they're fully functional, no issues with them so far?
None that I have encountered, Commander.
That's good. Well, thank you. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Commander, before I go, I would be curious to see if you'd be interested in a game of Stratagemo.
You're the second person to want to play a game with me in under a week time.
I find it helps me get a feel for my commanders.
So if I win, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It is not about winning and losing, but how you approach the challenge that is most informative.
I will. I want to try and win, so I'm going to look up the game first, and I'll get back to you.
Excellent, Commander.
That's all.
I slowly lope out.
All right. So we will say, for sake of argument, that you guys do get through a few drills that were aforementioned. They go well. You hammer out a few issues. Some of the new personnel. It's not like everyone in Gamma Shift needs to have, better phaser training, but as much of a as it seems to be a theme with my games, most of the problems are going to be with Gamma Shift.
I think I'm going to schedule Crowley for 2 shifts. It's going to be Gamma Alpha.
Okay.
He is going to help Gamma get better.
Okay.
And Sir would definitely volunteer to take on a second shift for drills.
Also noted. Okay. Anything else anyone wants to accomplish during the 3-day trip, or shall I skip ahead?
I would like. Well, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Milan.
I would want to talk with Ensign Lewis, but I feel like that would be kind of a meaty conversation, so we could just skip ahead
Okay. What did you have, Matic?
if we need.
I wanted to speak to Hylong.
Okay. In private, in engineering.
Kind of off to the side in engineering, or I'd even go to stellar cartography to talk to her.
Okay. I knew I should have put it in stellar cartography. All right. So you find Hylong in stellar cartography, where she usually is when she's not on the bridge.
How you like the new ship, Chief?
Well, I need to basically redesign how stellar cartography works. Whoever designed this lab clearly has never been in the field before. But other than that, I'm about as excited as anyone would be to be on a ship such as this.
I'm going to go in and tell you now, any ship just from Planitia or any of the other docks, they don't know what they're doing. We got to fix everything. They don't listen to us in the field. And it just it's an issue. Even if you ever get transferred off, or if we ever get a new ship, that's definitely, we're going to have to fix them again. So,
yeah, speaking of which, that AI program that you found, of course, I'm not really well versed in artificial intelligence, but would you mind if I ran it by a friend of mine back at the Soreto Draco Institute?
please, by all means, I don't do AI. I was thinking about maybe sending it to the Daystrom Institute. See if the Lieutenant or Mr. Maddox that's there might be able to do something with it.
I can certainly handle that for us if you'd like.
All right. Another thing. And Matic will kind of produce a data pad and hand it to her, and it is the Admiral's approval of him working on his temporal project.
So she'll kind of raise an eyebrow, then look at you and says, "War down, I see."
Yeah.
I think you already know my answer to this, but if you ever need an extra pair of hands, I'm your girl.
I knew I could count on you, Chief. And then there's not anything else, Chief. I'm going to go ahead and go back to keep fixing stuff. People keep taking showers and bridge positions keep going out. I know the moment the captain's chair goes out, I'm probably going to be in hell, so
Well, best of luck, Lieutenant. So, yeah. Let's skip ahead, because we are coming up on break, but I do want to get us to a certain point first. Back up on the bridge. We'll say 3 days later, or however you want to flavor it. It is Alpha Shift, though. And for Alpha Shift, you guys drop out of warp on the edge of the Yagron system. And as Hylong kind of briefed you all, it's a fairly nondescript and boring system. It's got the single Type F star, and then it has 2 Class-Y demon planets. Proper study of the 2 planets has shown that there's a few pockets of useful minerals and other such materials, but getting to said pockets of material is just not worth the effort of dealing with either planet's harsh conditions. But probably what's of more interest to you guys is that, true to the data that you were briefed on a few days ago, is that this sun is indeed going through a specific period or pattern of activity.
Chief Hylong, sensor readings.
Well, sir, I've been able to determine that there are no Feph ships in system. Other than that, depends what you're after, sir. I could give you temperature readings on either planet. I could tell you when they're expecting another eclipse. It's just, again, what are you after, sir?
Let's go ahead and start getting planetary scans. Let's look for any life forms or any structures, technology, power signatures. Let's see if the Feph have been here before.
Okay. Would anyone care to roll for Hylong?
I can do it. How long?
Yep, Hylong.
What am I
Hylong will
rolling?
be rolling a Reason plus Science. And the ship will assist with Sensors plus Science. And accounting for advanced sensor suites, the difficulty will be a 2.
Okay.
All right, no hope from the Arcadia.
Very close.
One off.
Yeah.
Hylong gets what she needs. So, Hylong, does a deep scan of the system and says, I'm not detecting any life that we are aware of, Captain. If there are Feph here, they're either in sort of a period, or not a period, a portion of the planet that is not scannable, or they simply just have never been here before.
How long? Compare the last ratings of the star when we fought the Feph, and on the other encounter with the first time we had the anomalous star readings. Does our radiation levels match up? Are they lower? Are they higher? This could indicate a window of when they will arrive. Then, if we can determine higher radiation, let's say, means they're closer. Lower levels means that we still have some time to wait.
So before she can so much as open her mouth, Serta, your console begins bleeping a warning at you.
I'll double check it before I say anything, but what is the warning? Are we being bombarded with something?
The warning is that there is a tear in subspace opening near the star.
Oh, I definitely report that.
Lieutenant Janus, move us behind the ship. I want to be at their aft when they appear.
I'll do my best, sir.
All right.
Captain, with your permission, red alert.
Granted. Red alert.
All right. So red alert goes across the ship. People scramble to get to their duty stations, and on the view screen, you watch as, similarly to before, a tear opens up in subspace, kind of in the particles of the sun that kind of come off with a solar flare. And sure enough, a ship does come out of a Terran subspace. But it is different than the ones you have seen before. Unlike other ships that have been on record of the Feph so far, this one doesn't have the sort of claw-like protrusions on its bow, nor is it of great size. Like, most of the Feph ships are pretty big. Like, this one is maybe just a tiny bit larger than your old ship. The design kind of reminds you of an insect. It has fore and aft sections that are joined by a smaller thorax-like connector. And tendrils of unknown purpose kind of trail from the ship, and these great fins kind of crest the spine. And for the moment, it either hasn't noticed you or doesn't really seem to care. And that's where we're going to take our 5-minute break. So,
Would you mind hitting Control Z on that ship? Or, I'm sorry, Shift Z?
Shift Z. Ah, yes.
Ooh.
Neat.
Totally forgot about that command. Nice. But yeah, let's take a 5-minute break, and we'll pick things back up, but BRB.
All right.
All right, I am back. Oh yeah, I can spell unknown. There we go. That should fix it.
Oh, like, I'm not expecting my threat ganglia to be like supernatural sense of anything, but feel free to just say that my threat ganglia suddenly sprout at any time.
Okay, sure.
I imagine that's a fun way of, like, something's going to happen, but
I'll definitely keep it in mind. My go-to has always been a beeping console first, but that's another good one.
So a sovereign, huh?
Yeah.
I like it.
Boy, Captain must have made somebody real happy to send us that toy.
Well, all my research is that the original prototype of the Sovereign did actually have quite a few problems, and that's why it's been sort of worked on for so long. So it quote-unquote fits canon that you guys can have this ship. But if anyone's like super anal about what happens to the actual Sovereign, because it apparently does actual things, I would just say they just make another ship the Sovereign. So
Yeah, I mean, we did rename. We renamed it. It's just that's a jump. I mean,
oh yeah,
it's a big jump.
yeah. It was very fortuitous that the command book came out when it did. Not to rag on Jester, but we would have been using Jester's stats had the book not come out on Thursday.
I haven't read his. I just made up my own when I did the Sovereign class for my home game.
It's nice. I like Jester's talents a lot better than the command book's talents. The command book talents, again, not to really rag on Modifius, but there are some sort of useless talents in there. For example, the EMH. I mean, don't get me wrong, having an EMH not counting crew support is great, but it's mostly useless most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, we can just use the crew support to have an EMH.
Mm-hmm. Plus, I mean, you've got Andromeda. Andromeda can probably handle most medical emergencies, so, you know.
Yeah.
And Carruthers can create new ones.
Yeah.
He hasn't done that yet, though.
Man, I was hoping we were going to see a nebula just so I could hear the air come out of Crawley.
Well, Nebula was on the list.
That's one of my faves.
What pushed me over the edge towards Sovereign, though, was simply that, I think most of you have seen the patch by now, but the nice patch that, what is his name? I think it's the guy who works for Star Trek Online. He's the lead designer. What is his name? Marone is his last name. Marone basically had a very nice Sovereign-style patch, which I basically edited to fit the Arcadia. Had there been one for the Nebula, you guys might have been in a Nebula.
I was actually really stoked to see the Centaur, New Orleans, and Ambassador in that supplement, too.
Yeah, the Ambassador I think I'm going to use for my IRL game when that starts back up in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that made me rethink the one I'm going to be running. I did want to do a Saber, which came out with a new command book, but when the Ambassador popped up, I'm like, you know what? Using an older Ambassador for a new crew almost makes more sense than handing them a jackknife of a ship for their first ship.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Saber's basically a precision scalpel compared to the Ambassador, which is just like a lumbering, old beast.
I mean, the Ambassador's
about my baby.
that's almost as good as the Galaxy class.
Yeah, but they're a better part of 50 years old, 40 years old, compared to the Saber, which is a brand new class.
Hmm.
So they've probably been sitting around for a while. They probably have a couple of mothballs that, which makes sense that they'd be like, hey guys, so stuff's hitting the fan, so we brought a couple ambassadors, polished them up a little bit, and we need some new captains to take them out.
They're still using Miranda classes now
Mm-hmm.
in Excelsior, so with
the Mirandas.
I remember Fan Theory saying that they brought those out of storage for the Dominion War.
Yeah, that's possible. I mean, the real answer was because they didn't have a model for it until yesterday's Enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and like I said, or not like I said, like I've mentioned, I used my real life experience in the Navy to kind of get an idea where stuff was going when I do the storylines for this stuff. And I in my mind I go, they kept Mirandas around because they're small and they're not they're cost effective to keep around for long periods of times. Where the ambassadors, as big as they were, it's a big to modify them over long periods of time is a large effort. Where they're just like, you know what, let's get another class, and that's why the larger classes look like they shift sooner than the smaller classes do. Because I mean, you look at the Excelsior, the Ambassador, the Galaxy. Every 20 years, 25 years, they're making a new class. Those Mirandas, they were around for 100 and something years.
And they're very versatile in loadout, because you can change out that top pod for different things.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when y'all put logic to it, it all just starts making sense.
All right. I think everyone's back. So let me get rid of the big BRB on screen. The Feph ship has more or less appeared in system. And Yeah, nothing's happened yet. I mean, obviously, you guys are at red alert, shields are up, weapons are powered, but the Feph ship doesn't really seem to care about you.
GM question, real quick.
Yes.
Because these things are basically doing tears outside of the stars. They had the episode about modulating or doing the modification of shields where we could get closer to the sun. Did that technology actually be applied here where we could get closer to the star than, say, like, you remember that episode I'm talking about, Next Generation?
I do now, yes. I had to figure out where it was in my notes because I know I wrote this down. Yes, the multiphasic shielding, I think is what it's called. Or maybe it's metaphasic. Either way, yes, the TNG sort of solar shield modifications, I would say, have probably made it to most ships that are not in mothball. It just takes you a little bit of time to switch over to that.
Okay. I was just making sure we were on the same page tactically, because these things are coming out of a tear in the stars, so closeness, how close we could get would be important to know.
If I have my notes properly figured out, I believe you can be in the Corona. Yeah, my notes say the Corona, but if you start going down into the photosphere, it might be, a little bit more of a problem.
Okay. Got that, Captain?
Yep.
Raj.
Were we able to get into a position behind the Feph ship?
Relatively sure.
Okay. Cool.
What would be our range at this point?
They would be at extreme range.
Okay.
I actually have the tactical circles ready if it actually breaks out into combat, but I didn't want to preempt it.
Right. Commander Serta, can you scan the Feph ship for tactical capabilities? It appears that for once we have the bigger ship.
Absolutely. And what kind of role is that? That's inside security?
I would say either insight plus security or reason plus security. Simply because I'm going to say that the ship will assist with sensors plus security.
I got the ship. Sensors.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to get full just because it's smaller.
And if it's all right, I'm going to go inside security.
Sure.
And let's see here.
All right, one success from the Arcadia.
Would combat tactics or shipboard tactical systems help here?
Shipboard tactical would.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot to say that the difficulty was 2. So, good news, you pass, but there is a complication. I'm going to take threat.
It's an inauspicious start to the...
Oh, I thought someone was taking a shower.
We got a moment, sir. I was running down there real quick.
Oh, dear. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to take threat instead of the complication, because I actually have use for threat later on. Anyway. Serta, what you find is that compared to all the other Feph ships that are on record, this one seems to possess minimal armament. It has medium-range disruptor banks, but they're not high-powered at all. If I had to qualify it in like a ranking system, a Klingon bird of prey does more damage with its disruptor cannons than this ship's disruptor banks would do. There's also some damage. It's visual damage that you are able to see on the port side of the ship that might suggest that this vessel's been in a fight rather recently.
Captain, I would venture a guess that this is some sort of transport or light scout.
Okay. Are we currently in Federation space, or we are outside our borders?
You are in the kind of tri-border system where you've got Klingon space on one side, the Shackleton Expanse on the other, and Federation space on the third.
Okay, so we're in between all three?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Lieutenant Sen, hail the the Feph ship.
Channel's open, sir.
Unidentified alien vessel. This is Captain Tahan of the USS Arcadia, a Federation starship. You've wandered into our nearby space, and you appear to be in need of assistance. May we offer it to you?
So kind of how the first time you hailed the Feph, you kind of got this barely translatable kind of single word answers from the Universal Translator. Something very similar happens here, and the word that translates is curious.
Captain, could I try something?
The word is curious, or just curious that it's a word? No.
Both.
What are you thinking?
Let's send them our translation program.
Send the information.
Okay.
And I'll look to Hailong to make it so. Or no, sorry, Sin, because she's our communications.
Yeah, she makes it so, and she says, I don't know whether or not they would choose to use it, sir. As far as I can tell, our universal translator is working properly on both ends.
It's just maybe the way they speak. Feph vessel, you may not know us, but it is our custom to help ships in need. If you would like our assistance, we would be happy to offer it.
Another single word answer, and this time it is planet.
I look to Sin and send them the solar system.
Okay. So Sin sends off the information.
With
And, sorry, go ahead.
with the planets numbered.
Okay. So the Feth ship replies with 2. And then sure enough, unless you guys start to do anything, kind of tactically in mind, the Feth ship will start moving towards the second planet.
I'd say let's stand down to yellow alert.
Keep shields raised. Janice, keep this distance, but escort them to the planet.
Very well, sir.
I would recommend we maintain a firing solution at all times, sir.
Yeah, let's stay within torpedo range. But do not arm them yet.
Oh, this is the first ship that hasn't showed hostile signs towards us.
Possibly because it doesn't believe it can challenge us.
True.
It may not be in their nature to be hostile towards superior adversaries.
Well, let's see what happens when we get to this planet.
And this was like a demon class planet, right?
Yeah, they're both demon classes.
It's the scientific term.
Mm-hmm. So, again, unless any of you start firing or locking on tractor beams, the Feth ship will go to the second Class Y planet in system, and it'll sort of immerse itself in the atmosphere. And you would see both on view screen and both Serta and Hailong would report that they're sort of using the planet's atmosphere to regenerate their hull.
Interesting. Is there any... There was no life forms on this planet, right?
Nope.
Okay. Huh.
Is the atmosphere of these planets volatile?
I mean, it is a Class Y, so I would say, yeah, it's pretty volatile.
I was wondering if there's, for future reference, in case we come across a dangerous ship that's doing this maneuver, would there be any way to ignite a section of atmosphere? Maybe damage them in the process?
I'd say we could let that happen, sure. You'd probably have to fire a salvo of torpedoes to get the explosion going. But if you're okay with giving me the threat for your torpedo salvo...
Well, I'm not shooting just yet.
Oh, no, I know. I'm just saying, like, in the future, should it come up.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chief Hylong, let's stretch that new scanner. Let's get as much data about this regeneration process as we can.
Of course, sir. I've pretty much got every single sensor on board trained toward the ship at the moment.
Well, let's keep one eye back on the star in case another ship comes through.
Understood, sir. And narratively, this sort of process where the Feph ship takes an atmosphere, this will go on for several hours. So my question is, at what point, if any, do any of you take additional action?
I think I do eventually want to speak with a member of their ship to discuss recent events between us and the Feph.
Okay. What would your hail be?
I would request a parley with the captain of your ship.
So, strangely, you get a 2-word answer. And the answer is no diplomats.
I'm going to tell them why. We need your help. We have had several colonists from many of our worlds abducted. If you can help us, we would be in your debt.
The answer is the same.
Could you help us find diplomats?
Captain,
Yes.
I think they are saying there are no diplomats. They may not know how to proceed.
Well, we can only try. Do they respond when I ask if they know how to get in touch with any diplomats?
They do say yes.
Would you be willing to give us that information?
You do not get a reply.
I want to try and hail them too.
Okay.
Do you understand single terms? Single words?
Yes.
Alright. Misunderstanding. Regret. Amends. Help. How do they react to any of that?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this. It's always a problem when you do like one word species because you got to think how would they condense it into a knowable form. Their reply would be us and then science.
Us. Explorers.
There's no reply.
I'll show them the system that the colony that we went to that got attacked.
Mm-hmm.
Death. Loss. Kidnap.
You again get the answer, not us.
Who?
I
Others.
show them.
Which others?
They just say others again.
Sir,
Location others.
You don't get a reply. But I think Janice was trying to interject there.
Yeah, sorry.
maybe their different groups are separate, like they're totally different societal separations, or maybe their planet's not one people. Maybe it's like easts and wests, and they do two different things.
They
Right.
could have a caste system.
Okay. My next query: relationship with others.
The answer is... They actually just say relationship.
Facebook status complicated.
Mhm.
Sir, if they are a science ship, perhaps they'd be willing to share information on their ship?
Well, we did attack 2 of their vessels. Granted, self-defense. Well, first time was.
We still don't know what kind of relationship that was. Opinion on others.
Well, if we want to get anywhere with this, and I look to the view screen, and if it's still open, I just say, meeting.
So the answer to the captain's question is others. The answer to Crowley's is no diplomats.
Scientists.
You don't get a reply, but as they, don't reply, Serta, your threat ganglia come out. And it's probably a good instinct because you're now reading on your tactical sensors that a Klingon bird of prey is headed your way from Klingon space.
Captain, Klingons, incoming.
Hail them.
All right. So,
Permission to
Sin-
raise shields.
I thought they were already raised.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think
they're
you're still yellow alert.
Okay, yes,
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Right.
If they weren't, then permission granted.
So, on screen comes a Klingon warrior. And he, in that sort of reclined way on his chair, he says, "This is Captain Chakor of the IKS Attack. I see you have cornered one of those Feph."
Captain, we have determined that this Feph is not one of the warriors that have been plaguing the area. We are working to find out how we may contact the ones responsible for the loss of life in this area.
I think Chakor would go so far as to almost spit to the side, and he says, "Typical Federation hiding behind words. Only action they seem to understand. I
Or
demand..."
if you'd rather view my action, you can ask Pagok. He'll tell you what my actions do.
Bah! He does not speak for all of us on the border. I, in particular, am looking for vengeance for Iraq. Did you know that that we had 60,000 Klingon warriors on that planet that they totally destroyed?
I am...
As have we, Captain.
Captain, I am sorry to hear the loss of life. We have suffered it too. But you, after all, are an honorable person. This is not a warrior ship. This would be the equivalent of sneaking up and attacking an elderly. What honor is that?
So, Chakor says something in Klingon, because apparently, even with universal translators, there's times where Klingon doesn't translate. But Sin would quietly whisper so that everyone on the bridge could hear, but not them. He just said that today is a good day to die.
Janice starts driving the ship, keeping the distance like a circle around the Feph, but putting us between the Feph and the Klingons.
Okay.
And is this a older model Brill bird of prey, or is this one of the newer ones?
This is one of the older models.
Okay.
I'd like to hail the Feph ship one more time.
Okay.
The approaching Klingon vessel will not be as diplomatic with you as we are. If you can tell us how to contact the warrior others, we may be able to stop them from attacking.
Roll me... What would this be? How would you feel about a presence plus command.
I feel like I like that.
Okay.
Would this be
would
diplomacy?
This would be diplomacy. I think I will spend some threat here. Let's make the difficulty of 4.
Okay.
Have I been feeling anything at all from the Feph ship emotional-wise?
No. In fact, any Betazoid on the ship. Excuse me. Basically none of the Betazoids are getting anything from the ship. Even, like, say, the really, like, powerful empaths or telepaths. They're getting nothing.
All right. I would like to spend determination on my newly changed value. Everyone deserves a second chance, but not everyone deserves a third.
Okay.
And I'm feeling like this Feph ship does deserve that third chance. They've not been hostile, so that would be 2 successes so far. I need 2 more. Is that right?
Mhm.
And then I don't know if diffuse the tension talent would apply to get me an extra die or not. 'Cause I'm not really asking them not to attack.
I would say diffused attention would apply if you try to do the same with the Klingon vessel, but not with the Feth vessel.
Okay. In that case, how much momentum to buy a third die?
Just 1.
Okay. I'll do that then.
Okay.
And so we're down 1 momentum.
There we go.
Wow.
All right.
That's impressive.
So, hold on. I'm doing this again. I did save a milestone as determination from the episode Night Shift.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the rules are for using milestones from.
I'm pretty sure you can just, again, I'm frantically looking up the rules. Off the top of my head, I think if you can apply something in that mission in Night Shift to this situation, that's when you can use the determination.
And just for my benefit, which mission was Night Shift?
Night Shift would have been the one with the station. And the one where basically the station's personnel were kind of feeding into this sort of psychic gestalt phenomena that what they believed became true.
Psi Omega 2.
Uh-huh.
Okay. If that's the case, then the feeling for me as the captain, because I was relying on the away team for that, was that that was a last chance to try to fix the situation, but it didn't work. And so I feel like this as well is a last chance, and for the life of me, I just want this to go well. So I'd like to re-roll my dice.
I'll allow it, but just remember, it is all die. It's not just the 2 zeros.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, it's going to be yeah. You can only get better.
He'll still have the success from his determination, though.
Yeah, he'll still have those 2 successes.
Okay, so presence command, 3 dice, focus, do it.
I see green.
I see green.
That's-
2 greens. Hey.
that-
Hey,
Yeah,
that's 2 momentum.
So that's we gain 2 momentum. Awesome.
Yeah. So, just so I get the word response correctly, run the statement you're asking them by me one more time.
So I'm telling them that the approaching Klingon vessel wants revenge, and that we won't be able to stop them unless we can help them get their revenge. If they can tell us, or not revenge, but like amends to find their lost men and women, and that if they can help us, we can go out, we can go find the others, so that the Klingons don't, act brashly and hurt these innocent bystanding Feph.
So the response at first is again no diplomats. But right before I would say you kind of throw up your hands and say, fuck it, we're not getting anywhere, there is a coordinates transmission from the Feph ship, and Sin reports this, and she says, "Sir, I'm getting a set of coordinates in the Shackleton Expanse. Also the word diplomats."
Thank you very much. Sin, contact the Klingon ship and send coordinates.
They are not responding to any hails, sir.
Did they get the coordinates?
As far as I can tell, sir, they did receive them.
All right, Janice, put us between the Klingon ship and the Feph ship.
That's already done, sir, while you were talking.
All right. What's the range from us to the Feph ship?
Yeah, I'm
The
actually
Klingon?
gonna pop this circle on here now. So, the Feth ship would be here. The Klingons would more or less be there. Let me put this on the map later. There we go. So they're both still at extreme range, and obviously they are, you're between them. But, again, combat hasn't broken out quite yet.
Okay.
Matic will speak up and just ask, has anyone scanned the Feph ship's injuries to see what caused them?
We didn't ask. Serta, can you review those scans from earlier?
Would I be reviewing the old scans or making new ones?
I'll say this way: you can either roll to make new ones, or you can just spend a momentum and you can ask a question.
I mean, I'm okay with taking a chance, but if you guys want to spend momentum,
I mean, the ship will probably assist and it'll make it easier because we're using the sensors. So,
yeah.
I mean, that we could generate a lot of momentum, or we could generate a lot of threat right now, or it could just be, hey, nothing happened. So,
Yeah.
Thankfully, momentum's really easy to generate during combat.
yeah.
So, like I said, it's up to you, but I think I'll roll the dice unless someone wants to tell me to spend momentum.
All right. Well, it would be another insight plus security, and the ship would again assist with sensors plus security.
Sensors. Less security. Focus.
All right. Well, that's already the successes you needed. I should have said it was difficulty 3, but hey, look at that. So yeah, Sarada, your best guess is that the damage to the Feth ship was caused by a Romulan disruptor.
Interesting.
That makes sense. Romulans are near this area as well. They've also been the victim of Feph raids.
Mm-hmm.
Does this look like...
We need to go talk to those diplomats because they're about to fight a war against 3 powerful groups.
Yeah. Captain?
Do these
Hold on.
injuries... Sorry. Do these... this damage to the ship, does it seem consistent with a small ship firing on them, or did they run into a capital ship? They run into a
Derek's.
Okay.
Is anyone else having issues with the Discord connection, or is it just me?
Let me check the
It
latency.
may be just you, maybe.
We just had a small spike a couple seconds ago, but it doesn't seem anything major. Is yours spiking?
It's been going up and down. I'm at 64 milliseconds right now.
All right. Well, if we start roboting, let us know.
No, yeah, it just spiked again.
Are we roboting?
I'm gonna
now?
restart Discord on my end, you guys.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right. If him restarting doesn't fix it, I'll switch us servers very quickly.
While he's gone,
mhm.
Matic is pulling the scans up of the Feph ship as it's healing,
Mhm.
using the sun's energy to restore itself, and he's gonna save that data, and down the line he's gonna look to see if there's a way that he could repurpose it for the Arcadia.
Typical Matic thinking. I like it. I would say the closest equivalent that I personally was able to come up with was if the Borg, where like this would be like very early kind of Borg style regeneration. Obviously, Borg regeneration has been studied very thoroughly by the Federation. So you might have some inkling what this mechanism might be like, but you'd be taking guesses, is how I would phrase it.
I'm back, guys. You guys sound better.
Okay, good.
All right.
Awesome.
So yeah, you do have a silent bird of prey kind of closing in on you and the Feph ship. The Feph ship seems to still be in the planet's atmosphere, regenerating itself. What's the play here, guys?
Captain?
As soon as they move into long range, fire a quantum torpedo at the Ektox weapons system.
Holy shnikes.
Captain, if I may, before we do that, because tensions are still pretty high between the Federation and the Klingon Empire, I'd like to try and communicate at least one last time, if you don't mind me doing my version of diplomacy.
Carry away.
Alright, so Sin opens a channel and says, I can't guarantee that they'll reply, sir, but all indication is they are receiving.
As long as they're listening. This is Commander Crowley of the USS Arcadia Sovereign class. I'm not sure if you know that name yet, but you will. We are armed with quantum torpedoes and a multitude of phaser arrays. We have regenerative shields, and we boast one hell of a punch. Stand down. If you attempt to attack a science vessel after we've communicated with you, it'll be seen as a dishonorable and pitiful Romulan act. So if you want to be compared to those, fine. We'll make sure that your name of the ship and the captain and the crew are sung, and everyone knows that you're dishonorable Pata. And I'll roll for that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's gonna need to be a roll.
Matic will assist.
No, you can't assist, you're not an Ossican.
No. I'm actually going to say something in Klingon.
Oh, okay. What are you saying in Klingon?
I will basically tell them I'm a friend of House Pagax. Stand down, or we will bring him into this issue.
Okay. How do I want to flavor this? Because I do want to give you guys a chance to succeed. I would say this would be another difficulty 4 presence plus command. I am going to spend some threat, though, and I'm going to make the complication range a 17 to 20.
I'm going to burn my determination, no stranger to violence, because if it does come down to it, we will fire.
Okay.
Is it bad? I was about to say the same thing.
And, let's see. Now, this is my version of diplomacy, though, and I have established that in the past, so does that apply?
I'll let it happen, sure.
Yes. Presence and command. And I'm going to burn a momentum to an extra dice.
Okay.
And command. Focus, yes. Oh no!
Oh, Jesus.
So...
Does Matic assist?
Focus. So, me and Crowley both spent our points of determination using no stranger to violence, because we've had hard lives in Starfleet.
Pneumatic,
So,
I'd say
besides
you keep your determination.
What happens if, in the background of Crowley's hail, that I said, don't insult the Romulans by comparing them to these Batak?
That's actually what was going to be the complication, was that someone on the bridge was going to say something to the effect of that.
So I have 3 because my determination's 2. That's in the one there, and then Maddox assist.
Right.
There's 4. There's a complication. Now, is there any way I can get rid of that complication?
I don't think there is.
You'd have to do a reroll.
Yeah.
Ooh, do you guys want me to do a reroll?
Well, how would you do the reroll? What would be your determination or saved milestone?
I don't have neither of those because I just burnt my determination.
Yeah. So...
Wait. What do I get to do as being the captain? Oh, I can give my determination to someone else.
Yes, but you've used yours already.
I've used both of mine.
Yeah.
And then you could spend 3 momentum, but we have 2.
Yeah. So...
Could we give you a threat for a third momentum?
I'm gonna say no, because I feel like otherwise, that just makes
Plays
it
into
too
the
easy.
Klingon.
Sometimes we have to fail rolls.
Yeah, there's gotta be some failures sometime.
It also plays into Klingon anger, so...
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Always
so
win.
here's what happens. And, I know we have, 20 minutes, so we'll see how this goes. The ICTAC is going to... as soon as it gets into long range, it is going to attempt to fire a photon at the Feph ship. And we're going to resolve this attack, but then we'll go straight into initiative order. So let me put these 2 things on the screen, because those are very helpful charts. Let me put Bird of Prey and Feph ship on my bar. And let's roll for the Bird of Prey. So the photon torpedo sails harmlessly past the Feph ship and detonates further down in the atmosphere. It's not enough to ignite the atmosphere or anything, but it might be alarming if you were on the Feph ship. And we are now going to go in initiative order. So let me quickly clear all of this.
So I have a question. I know Crowley recently changed out and no longer has quick to action. Do any other players have it?
I still
going to?
Yeah, going to. So I still have it currently.
Excellent.
Okay. So the ICTAC is scale 3, the Feph ship is scale 3, and the Arcadia depends on player characters. Okay. So, as it so happens, you are currently first to go, and the situation is as you see it.
Maddox wants to try to talk to the ship if Captain will allow it. The Klingons.
I mean, I'll allow it, but I already gave an order to fire a torpedo. That's fine. Do your thing. Oh, a quantum torpedo. At their weapons system, specifically.
So, on that, I did want to say, so remember, torpedoes are difficulty 3, and firing them does give threat. In addition, if you want to specifically aim for their engines, you don't have fast targeting, so that would be an increase in difficulty for a total of 4.
Right. So for this first, since we already have quick to action, I'm not going to direct. I'm just going to use my assist action to help whoever is going to do that role.
Okay.
And I think when I take the assist, I do get to use my command discipline.
You do, yes.
Okay, but I just don't do it during my turn.
So, Matic, let's quickly resolve yours before doing the fire. What would you be saying?
I'm going to call out to I want to open the fourth precept of the Kesa, always seek adversity. This ship is nothing compared to you. You'll basically be killing, and it's already injured. You're taking Romulan scraps right now. Is this really how you want to be remembered, Klingons?
Roll me another presence plus command.
I I guess this is where I'll spend my point of determination for no stranger to violence.
Okay, and the difficulty would be a 3, so you only need 1 success.
All right.
They've been insulted 3 times.
Yeah, this is probably the last time I'm gonna let it happen. Before they just, start suicide running you guys.
Well, that technically wasn't an insult. That was this is your book saying how you're supposed to act, and you're not acting this way. What's wrong with you?
Right.
I don't suppose I could assist by lighting up all the weapon systems like a Christmas tree.
I got my successes.
You could. I'll say we'll play it this way. Matic, you send that message, and Serta, you, in conjunction with him, kind of light up the weapons arrays, make them ready to fire, and the ACTAC kind of doesn't stop per se, but it does kind of hesitate from a con perspective. And I'm going to roll something behind the screen here. What would that be? That would be this. Okay. So the ACTAC swings around and cloaks as it seems to be leaving the system, but it does send a message. And Sin reports, sir, they basically just said we've declared war on their house.
Oh.
I've never heard of them, so it must be a small house.
Memory serves, sir, the Chakor is indeed a smaller house, but, I don't think I really need to tell you what this might mean for tensions on Narendra Station.
Are they stationed out there?
No, but, since they're here, I can only assume that they're in the neighborhood.
Well,
Looks like I'll have a little more work to do then.
they can be happy that they
can
get
tell
along.
them. You can tell them that we'll be looking for their house's survivors as well.
I sent the message, sure, but they're gone. That or they're just sitting in cloak waiting for us to leave.
Well, we're going to stay here and defend the Feph ship while it repairs.
Captain, if we send out a tachyon burst, there's a possibility that it could give away their position if they are cloaked.
Make it so.
Alright. And then I will assist Long in doing it, because I'm assuming it's not engineering task.
I'm gonna let it happen without a roll. I would like you to roll me 4 challenge die, and we want to see an assist here. Or not an assist, an effect.
There we go.
Well, all right. You are indeed picking up the fact that they are cloaked on the edge of the system, just kind of lying in wait.
I want to send a message to the Klingon commander Peg X, and I want to inform him that the ACTAC. I just want to kind of give him a, here's everything the ACTAC did, and what we're dealing with right now. What should we do?
Okay.
What would be the Klingon thing to do?
The reply you'll get is, they've made their bed, let them lie in it. If that means they die, they die.
I'll forward the message to the captain and commander and Lieutenant Commander Serta.
All right, well, you all get that information.
It's an old Barolo ship, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Captain, if I remember correctly, before the Enterprise D went down, they used an emission tracking torpedo. Just an idea.
Well, let's be ready to spoof any torpedoes that come in at us.
Well,
So, with tension levels as it is, I would say that, again, unless you start firing on the cloaked Klingon vessel, this sort of period of unease will last about another 20 minutes before the Feph ship starts to rise from the atmosphere.
Yeah, I just want to escort them back to wherever they're going.
Okay. Well, again, unless you lock them in tractor or anything, they are going to start heading towards the sun. And once again, both Hailong and Serta's console are going to detect a tear opening. And right before the Feph frigate goes through, it does send a single word reply, and it says gratitude. And then it's gone.
I'll walk over to Lieutenant Shavik and just lean down. When we leave the system, skim past that cloaked vessel as close as you can.
Yes, sir.
All right. So we'll just do it flavor-wise rather than actual roll for it. Janice, you give them one hell of a flyby. This would be the equivalent of the full entire Blue Angels flying by your house in formation. It's a big show of power and skill.
We torch their hull with our ion exhaust a little bit, type of thing.
Something like that. Something.
Well, they don't
Nice.
have their shields on, so I mean, we could go ahead and knock out their engines or weapons or something.
Hey.
No, it messes up their hull registry, so it says IKS Patak.
All wonderful ideas.
It's very precision.
Yes, it's very precision. Basically, you snub them again, and they're probably not really happy about it, but they're a little bit smarter not to fire on a Sovereign-class vessel. But at this point, we kind of have reached the end of the adventure, so unless you wanted to go back to Narendra, I'm content saying that you guys are starting to fly towards the coordinates that the Feph gave you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're in a big ship. We don't need to go back home every 5 seconds. We're good.
All right.
We've got arboretum and bathtubs. We're good to go.
Yeah.
All right, so then the closing sort of image that you would see if this was an episode is the Arcadia jumping to warp and vanishing from the system. And yeah, that's where we're going to end this particular session. So players, stick around, but to anyone watching either live or on YouTube, thank you for watching, and bye-bye.